Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving this. This is the Tata Safari Automatic, which is basically the Harrier 7-seater. Actually, it is the H7X. Actually, it is the Cassini. Actually, it is the Buzzard. Actually, it is the Gravitas. Okay, whatever you want to call it. It is finally the Safari. And you can see the grille has changed. It gets the Tri-Arrow Star, whatever that is. Okay, which is a theme on almost every Tata car right now. It looks good. It looks different, lot of chrome treatment. Let's open the engine bay right away, which means I have to search for it. It's kind of hot right now. Yeah, oh my god, this is heavy. You know what? The actual Safari had a hydraulic strut. This does not get hydraulic strut, says Cryotech 170. But you know what? The wheelbase is actually the same as the Harrier, but still it gets this nice treatment right there, which might remind you of the Safari. But it will also remind you of the Discovery 5. It will also remind you of the GLS. Actually, the rear treatment will remind you of the GLS. What I'm disappointed with is the fact that Tata Motors has chosen to give it the same alloy wheel design, in spite of the fact that this is one size bigger, the wheel. Yeah, one size bigger. This is an 18-incher. 235, 60, 18. Rear disc is there as well. Alright, coming to the rear of the car, little bit changes here and there. But you know what does this mean? It's probably to save the tigers or the lions, something of that sort. So some Easter eggs here and there. Fake exhaust. Faisal Khan's fingers of truth are going to go in there and realize that it's fake AF. Exhaust is actually right there, and the spare wheel isn't an alloy. It's actually 16-incher. Yeah, 235, 670, 16s, small size. I like the treatment. You know why they've done this? So that it does not look obnoxious. The roof is actually going upwards. Why is it going upwards? So they can get a panoramic roof, which is actually a nice touch because a sunroof is very important in a car these days. Let's open the rear door. Now I'll tell you what, there is no space on offer. Never mind. I shall show you how to increase the space over here. Okay, door pockets are big enough. Nuren, you don't have to move the seat ahead and make a popat of me. I put the seat back for a reason. Put your seat all the way back. Put your seat all the way back. Okay, this has something known as a boss mode. Here, you see, this is the lever. I press this lever and there I can increase the space. Yeah, that's right. You can just push the lever and increase the space here. Good amount of legroom there. Now, the last row of seats, well, the space depends on the compromise you want to make with the middle row. But, you know, it's practical enough because AC blower is there. AC vents are here. Yeah, there's the AC vent. AC blower control. This is dedicatedly for the last row. Adjustable headrest, and you know what? You get two USB charging sockets. They store its space. Kind of practical last row, but space depends entirely on how much you want to compromise here in the center row. Okay, the seats are very comfortable. Headroom is also good enough. There's a hook handle and whatnot. In fact, you can recline the seat if you so want. Here we're going to recline the seat. Yeah, this is the maximum recline angle, which is also very comfortable. Let me do one thing. Let me get out. Yeah, you can see the recline angle, good enough. However, with all the three rows up, you know what happens? Yeah, you guessed that right. There is no boot. There is no boot space. Press this lever and you can push this seat ahead like this to increase the boot carrying capacity. Yeah, it's a 50-50 split. You can pull it back like this and there it is. Now the good thing is, although I use Faisal Khan's fingers of truth, this seems to be someone from the UK's stick of truth, which we can use to see, is it a real exhaust or fake? It is a fake exhaust. That looks obnoxious when I do it. Anyways, there's a reverse parking camera here, rear parking sensors, there's a request sensor on both the sides, mirrors are big enough as well, and you know what, door pockets are big enough. At the front too, there's an umbrella holder here, 6-way driver adjustment with, 6-way electric adjust for the driver. Hi Nuren, sorry for that. You look so freaking sleepy. People come on the shoot at exactly 12 o'clock and they sleep. OMG.
And 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, what a nice joke. Okay, you have got cup holders here. Electric parking brake and auto hold function is unique to the Safari when compared to the Harrier. And of course, it also gets IRA connected car tech. Again, something which is unique to the Safari, which will obviously come in the Harrier in due course of time. Okay, there's something known as themes, which actually lets you change the color, the sound and the climate as well. Red, blue, and I think Zeal, another color, which is sort of, I don't know what color that is. But we'll just put that as well so that you get an idea of it. Yeah, the theme is activated. Dashboard design is really very nice. Quality of materials is good. Soft touch. In fact, the glove box is big enough. Yeah, it is big enough. It has got another, what do I say, tray up, and there's storage space here as well. 2 USB ports. Below the front center armrest, there's a cooling function along with a 12-volt charging socket, along with Yeah, that's right. It also gets two USBs here. Plenty of USB charging options inside this car. Lot of buttons here. This button is obviously to browse through this multi-information display. There's a tire pressure monitor. Lot of information you get on the instrument cluster as well. It's a part digital, part analog. The 7-inch is a digital, which is a screen obviously. And this is a 8.8-inch screen. It is a very nice and fluid one, although you know what is the problem. It doesn't get ventilated seats, it doesn't get a power tailgate, it doesn't get a wireless charger either. Let's get into reverse, and there is the reverse parking camera. It gets guidelines which are adaptive, and there are multiple modes here as well. The audio system is fantastic. You know why it's fantastic? Obviously because it's a JBL unit. Yeah, it says JBL right there. 4 speakers, 4 tweeters, 1 subwoofer, and obviously an external amplifier as well. There's an auto dimming inside rear view mirror. Let's open this sun blind. It's a massive panoramic roof, which is very smart. It's smart enough that it will automatically close when you lock the car, and if it's open. It will obviously close, it will also close in case it starts to rain. It also closes if you put your hand in between and it's closing, so it will open. So it has the anti-pinch function as well. It's large enough, and the audio quality is fantastic. Let's play on a radio right away. Radio continues to suck like always. These are the drive modes, and this is the terrain mode. Downhill assist. ESP function is placed here, which unfortunately turns on every time you get into sport mode. If you turn it off, you can only use it in eco and city mode, I believe. Okay, automatic headlights, automatic wipers. Wipers work really well. Good amount of spray on offer, but it sprays so low down. It should spray a little higher up. That would be really nice. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's open the sunroof of the car. There it opens. You see there's a handle on the driver's side as well. This car gets 6 airbags, but it hasn't been tested by NCAP yet, which is kind of disappointing because we are looking forward to see how it performs on that front. These are the controls for the outside rear view mirror adjustment. Mirror is actually big enough. They made the mirrors slightly small. They also removed that thing which used to come, project the logo of the car, which was there in the Harrier, the V1, but it got removed in the V2. Shockingly, there's no mirror on this side. Obviously, there is a mirror along with 2 lights on this side. Why do you need 2 lights? Probably you can put one of the lights on the other side. That will be kind of cool. Center console looks really nice, but your leg actually fouls with the center console, and this is also a nice treatment. Looks good. Horn is loud enough. These are the controls for the audio system. This is for the multi-information display. It also gets cruise control system, but all that you already know. Do you really care about it? What you care about is this. You want the convenience of an automatic. So let's start driving right away. Alright, we are all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning, getting into sport drive mode, getting into drive mode, into manual mode. Let's turn on the driver rear view monitor as well. Handbrake down, left foot on the brake, revving the motor, and off we go. Straight away, let me tell you that this car feels slightly more refined somehow compared to the manual, and that's not all. The steering also kind of feels off. It doesn't feel as connected as the one on the manual. That's kind of weird or awkward. Anyways, performance is very nice. Drivability is better because Turbolax seems to be masked by the 6-speed torque converter automatic gearbox, and of course there's good amount of grunt from this 2-liter Cryotech diesel engine, which produces 170 PS of power and 350 Newton meters of torque, which comes in between 1750 to 2500 RPM. There's good amount of punch, but flat out this is almost a second slower when compared to the manual, because obviously this automatic doesn't let you launch. However, this automatic gearbox is really well tuned, matched with this engine, because it feels so smooth, refined, and definitely feels one with this engine. In fact, it is a very smooth and a great experience driving this car because the gear shifts happen at the right moment almost always. Okay, it's not the fastest in terms of shifts, but it is decently quick as well. And I like the fact that overall NVH level is also good as long as you don't get into the high end of the rev range. Now, when compared to the manual, red line comes in pretty early here. Yeah, in the manual you can hold the red line all the way till 5000 RPM. Here though, it shifts between 4 to 4,500 RPM. So yes, red line comes in quite quickly. Now, of course, the competition of the Safari is right next to us. It is going to be coming in its new avatar really soon, and that's going to be something really to look out for. The Mahindra XUV 500, which already has a ton of features, and the new generation will obviously have a lot more features. Now, getting to the gas, because we are in manual mode, it's not very proactive with the downshift, but here once you get into auto, it does that quite quickly and pulls hard and strong as well. Now, the ride quality is very good. It's very nice, very refined, very smooth. Only thing is bad bumps affect the car, and high speed stability is also fantastic. It's a hydraulic steering wheel, so it's obviously on the heavier side. Some amount of vibrations I can feel, and the hydraulic steering wheel means that it feels a little bit heavier at lower speeds too, but at higher speeds it weighs up brilliantly well, and high speed stability is good. Handling is also good. Some amount of body roll is obviously there, And this is actually a very fun car to drive, but the motor, this diesel engine, is fantastic the way it pulls. It's very strong in its pull. Even on these rumbler strips, no problem, just go. It goes without any hesitation whatsoever. Get into the gas, immediately pulls. Mid-range is the strongest. Drivability is better than the manual, of course, but still there is a hint of turbo lag which can be felt. Top end is missing. This one doesn't really go into the top end, so that's not much of a problem. But it's really the mid-range punch which is super exciting on this car here. See, the mid-range pull, really nice, between 2 to 3,500 RPM. It pulls very strongly indeed. Now the premium you pay for the automatic when compared to the manual is somewhere around 1,63,000 rupees, which is worth it if you're looking for convenience. But if you're looking for speed and more fun to drive nature, you are better off with the manual because it just feels so much more exciting to drive. Prices haven't been revealed, but going by the prices of the Harrier, I believe the Safari automatic should cost somewhere between 26 to 26.5 lakh rupees for the top end variant which I'm driving today. This 6-speed torque converter automatic gearbox is sourced from Hyundai. This platform is a Land Rover derived D8 platform which is known as the Omega Arc, which comes from the UK because Land Rover is obviously from the UK. And of course the name comes from an iconic model which now has come back with an automatic gearbox as well, which was not the case with the earlier Safari. It never came with an automatic, but that was a missed opportunity. But did Tata Motors do a right thing by bringing back the Safari in the form of the Gravitas or the Buzzard or the Cassini or the H7X, whatever? There are like so many names now for this car, it's absolutely insane. But I'll tell you something, okay? There are times I just park the car here and then people have come and asked me saying that, oh my god, Safari वापस आ गई है. Some people were actually looking below to see if it's rear wheel drive or not, and they were quite baffled when they could not see the drivetrain powering the rear wheels, and they're like, Safari should always be rear wheel drive or obviously 4-wheel drive, but why is that not the case here? So people will actually buy into this car just because of the Safari moniker, which will obviously attract a lot of attention. So in one sense, yes, it's a masterstroke. Obviously Safari owners who already have the real genuine 4-wheel drive Safari with the body on frame platform feel upset that the Harrier 7-seater is actually known as a Safari and has nothing to do with the original model. Now coming around the corner, what I feel is now the steering wheel, it actually feels decently weighted at lower speeds as well. I mean, you don't have to put much of an effort unless and until you come towards a U-turn. When you come towards a U-turn now, then you really have to put some amount of effort, especially at no speeds or 1 to 2 kilometers per hour. That time the steering does feel a lot heavy and needs a lot more effort to pilot. But then once you get onto the gas and at high speeds, the steering is a wonderful unit. Really tracks ahead beautifully. Yeah, like big bumps catch the car out, but for the most part there is no issue. Actually, you know what, it rides slightly better than the Harrier because obviously bigger wheels, able to gobble up bigger potholes without any hesitation, but really bad potholes can be felt, and obviously the car is on the stiffer side, which actually lends it a good handling capability too. But the overall balance between ride and handling is just fantastic. This is a car which can go fast over any sort of road, and you can have a lot of fun and a big smile on your face at that time as well. Now Tata Motors has given it a rear disc as well, which is not the case with the Harrier. Just improves braking performance. Yeah, so much sure-footed the brakes feel now. Now I have put it in manual mode, but manual mode doesn't really let you take manual control of things because it will upshift when it wants to, it will downshift when it wants to. Although right now what you're going to do is we are going to shift the gear to the topmost, which happens to be 6th gear in this case. Here we are into 6th gear. It makes all these sounds, yeah, like it says driver control shift denied. It denies a shift to me because it feels that I'm not capable enough to shift the gears. What's happening? Safari, let me control the gears. Now we are into 6th gear. Now when doing around 100 kilometers per hour in 6th gear, the RPM meter is revolving around 2000 RPM. Meanwhile, if I whack open the throttle, it doesn't give me a downshift. It will give me an upshift. It will not hold on to the red line, but it will not give me a downshift. So that's kind of weird. Well, that's not complete manual control of things. That's like half-hearted attempt at giving you manual control of things. Now over bad roads now, it still tracks ahead very beautifully, moves around a bit, and some amount of vibration you can hear from the rear end, but for the most part the high speed ride is fantastic. You can feel that the automatic isn't as sprightly, isn't as punchy, isn't as exciting to drive as the manual. Of course, we've got multiple drive modes. We've also got terrain modes, which works with the ESP system. In fact, the ESP system has 14 functions, including brake disc wiping and rollover mitigation, ABS, ESP, hill descent, hill ascent, hill hold, you name it. It's loaded with a lot of features, but then this is a front wheel drive car, so that's not really much of a use here, because what you really need in the Safari is 4-wheel drive, which is possible on this platform and could happen in the future. Now I was talking about 3 drive mode. There's Eco, which actually makes the performance even more sluggish when compared to city mode, because in city mode also I find the performance to be sluggish, but in sport mode the car pulls really ahead with a lot of enthusiasm, with a lot of gusto, and that is a mode you should drive. Only thing is, it affects the fuel economy a bit. This car will return somewhere between 9 to 13 kilometers per liter, so fuel economy drops by 1 kilometers per liter when you compare it to the manual version of the Safari. And I would honestly choose the manual version of the Safari, because I feel a manual is just so much more exciting to drive, more fuel efficient, faster and cheaper as well, and that's like a big win-win situation. So guys, this is my vlog on the Tata Safari Automatic. It's a practical car, and those looking to go and reclaim their life by taking their family along in 6 seats or 7 seats will definitely appreciate the automatic more, because it brings in the convenience. But for me, manual any day. If you like this vlog, make sure to give the thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye.